Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
It's Thursday, August 20, 2020, episode 016. You're about to go down the rabbit hole with Joe and Brian. I'm Brian. With me, as always, sitting way over there, well beyond the socially accepted and magical 6-foot distance, here's my good friend Joe. Joe, how you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing okay. I could complain, but no, I'm just joking. Don't you hate that when you get on the elevator and you ask someone how their day's been, and then they actually start talking, and you're like, man, just stick to the small talk. You know, we have a social contract. I don't really care. I don't really care how your day's been. I say how you doing, you say fine, and we move on. So.
Yeah, let me help you out there, buddy. When I say how are you, your answer is I am fine.
Exactly.
Anything more is just too much information. So it's been a week, man.
Yeah, it has been, and it's been a fast week for me. I don't know about you.
Fair to middling. I mean, there were areas of the week where it seemed like it was dragging, but then the week as a whole went by very quickly, and so it's a blessing and a curse, I guess.
Yeah. So
hey, I heard that a little blue bird told me that we have some news.
We do, but you know what? Before we get there,
motherfucker, give me 2 fingers of Southern Comfort.
What do you drink? What are you drinking, Joe?
Well, that never gets old for me. 2 fingers.
Yeah, I love it.
So the past few weeks we've been going extra basic. Last week I had a Pepsi, and this week I was determined to not do that, and so I had to go extra fancy this week. So I've got a wine spritzer. It's a dry white wine with a mixture of what's the best way of like a cherry glaze to it. A little backstory of it. So a few weeks ago, went out and did some cherry picking, and
okay.
I mean, cherries are great. I mean, fresh picked strawberry cherries, not much better. So yeah, there's not much that's better than that. And so probably got a little bit more than I should have, and eventually I just had too much, and so ended up making, instead of throwing cherries in the garbage can, I ended up just making them into a cherry sorbet. And then from there, I cut that sorbet with a dry white wine. So the cherries are super sweet, the wine is super dry, and they meet just in the middle, and it's a good blend. I
always thought cherries picked were kind of tart, but maybe I just never had the right cherries.
Yeah. There are specifically tart cherries.
Okay.
As opposed to sweet cherries, as opposed to Rainier cherries. I mean, who knew there were so many different types of cherries?
Yeah.
What about you? What did the bartender bring you?
I'm keeping it basic as well.
No. Mine was the very opposite of basic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Mine was like highfalutin sophistication, man.
Yes, it was a spritz. It was a spritzer.
Yes, highfalutin sophistication. A wine spritzer with a cherry glaze.
Oh, I love it. You're so world traveled and all that, man.
I'm basic with a capital B.
Ah.
But what are you having?
Well, I'm keeping it basic, and I just got the most basic of margaritas again.
You know what? That's actually an improvement upon where you were for the past 2 weeks. And so, yeah, I mean, if that's basic, you're still on the winning side with me because you were drinking water.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But, all right, great. This is going to be a great show.
Yeah, and so we do have some news that we want to hit on today, and that's we're
To share.
Yeah, we're finally on YouTube.
Shocking.
Yeah, I promised that I would investigate it, and that is done, and you have uploaded them to your YouTube channel. So I'm sure that your link is youtube.com/ and then like a big hash of numbers and letters. So if you send me that, you send me the link to the videos, and I will post that link on joehyde.com so that people can get to it from there.
All right, cool. I can do that. Winning.
But then once people get on YouTube and check it out, do the whole subscribe, pound the like button, and tell your friends and family about it, and all the stuff that.
Yeah, subscribe, like, and share.
Subscribe, like, and share. Yeah, thank you.
SLS. Little mnemonic devices get us through.
Fucking acronyms, man.
Oh, hey, cool. That's very exciting.
Yeah, I think it is. And right now, the artwork is very is a work in progress. Trust me. I have an idea. I have bigger ideas for it, but yeah, for now it'll suffice.
Yeah, I like the artwork. It kind of reminds me of us drinking.
Well,
I wonder if that was on purpose.
That's the plan. I just need to flesh it out and finish it. So yeah.
Well, flush, and flush away.
Yeah. So all right. Let's jump up to Minnesota again for what is probably, if this isn't a public defender. He's the worst attorney in the country. You got a great story here, Joe. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think whichever cop. So whichever cop hired this guy. So this is the George Floyd murder.
Yes.
And one of the cops hired a guy by the name of Thomas Lane, and apparently, he doesn't enjoy being a lawyer, or he hasn't been a lawyer for that long, because he actually stood up in front of a room of people and said something to the effect of, let's see here, a lawyer for a police officer charged in George Floyd's death says Floyd killed himself by dying from an overdose and a heart condition. A lawyer, Thomas Lane, for one of the 4 Minneapolis police officers charged in George Floyd's death, told LA Times that he planned to argue that Floyd killed himself. Sorry. He told the Times that Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose and an underlying heart condition, and that the police officers involved in Floyd's death on May 25th were just doing their jobs. None of these guys, even Chauvin, actually killed him, said.
Wow.
Referring to Derek Chauvin, the police officer who knelt on Floyd's neck for 9 minutes. The Hennepin Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office ruled Floyd's death a homicide, saying his heart stopped when police officers restrained him by putting pressure on his neck. So, yeah, this, it's one of those things where he could actually believe that, that Floyd had extra, or that there were what am I looking for? Circumstances other than the officer that killed him, but to say that he killed himself is, yeah. I mean, did he just throw the trial right there?
It sounds like it. You told me that, and I was just like, shook my head. I was like, that you're not even trying, dude.
Yeah, and so
fired. You're fired.
Yeah. So so if linking with our story last week about them about the attorney general trying to get them all to have the same trial at the same time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? If you're the first, if you got number two, and the first guy argued, "Hey, George Floyd killed himself." It's like, oh crap, we're never going to see the light of day again. I don't know why that's so funny to me right now, but yeah, I would probably cry in my orange jumpsuit in court after.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I think that might be something that's memorable, like just how they have at the end of the year memorable stories, best and worst, I think that might be one of them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's this trial is going to be fascinating. I just something tells me that it's just going to be like a train wreck, and you just can't help but
So, in terms of train wreck, okay, so other trials that we can put this next to in terms of train wreck style.
Well,
is it like an OJ train wreck rating, or is it like beyond that, or Rodney King, or is it beyond that?
I think it's got to. I think because of the subject matter, it's got to be. You got to kind of equate it with like the Rodney King thing, right? And the circumstances, but like if OJ would have been convicted, I don't think that the country would have to worry about riots, and if these three guys get let go, it's going to be hell.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's gotta be hell.
now the L.A. cops, there's all kinds of crazy shit that happened then as well. I mean, there was what was it, Reginald Denny, the truck driver, who got pulled out of his truck and had his ass whooped. And then
I thought he was begging for that.
He may have been. I don't know. He may have been.
I thought he was just short of driving through and holding his finger out the window and he got what he deserved, and oh crap, you guys got me, now my ass is kicked.
And the whole can't we all just get along? A lot of memorable, notable things came out of that, but this is. I think that this is this almost seems global. This seems to have taken on a global. And I don't, and I think, and it's because of, and it's definitely because of Black Lives Matter Incorporated. But this is a global thing now, and I feel like the stakes are higher.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt the stakes are higher, which is all the more reason it's amazing to me that lawyer would stand in front of a newspaper and say, "Yeah, George Floyd killed himself." That's what I'm going to argue. It tickles to me.
If he argues it, he better reword it in a different way. If he wants to.
It's already out there, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Some genies you can't put back in the bottle. But speaking of genies in a bottle, what do we have something on the DNC?
Yeah, did you even know that was taking place? I didn't even realize that it was happening this week until someone asked me if I had seen something. And this is just a weird year this is just a weird political year. But the Democratic National Convention is going on virtually, I suppose.
What city is it in?
Cyber City? I don't know, man. Does it have a? I'm actually dead serious. Does it have a home base this year?
It's supposed to be in Wisconsin.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's one of those states where, oh wow, this is something we can mention later. But it's one of those states that's one of those battleground states that the Democrats need to win.
Okay.
In order for them to have any chance in Hades of winning the presidency again. But I've watched it and it's been somewhat underwhelming. Like I know they say, "Oh, it's so choreographed when it's at the large convention centers," but that just plays so much better on television.
Right.
Than it just seemed to. It kind of like is that let's see here, it's like having a graduation party, but the person didn't graduate. But you're just gonna go through it anyway because you already bought the stuff and you're kind of expecting to have it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It feels like somebody has let air out of a balloon.
Well, for anybody, I've got a few clips that we can play that I was able to gather from, and these clips are nowhere near representative of the entire event. Really, these are just some things that I found interesting. And I've got some Hilary Clinton clips here, and really, you'll know once I start playing them here that these are just. It doesn't matter. It's still about her, and she just can't let 2016 go.
Why don't you tell us what you really believe about it?
No, sorry, I can't hide it. But let's. These are short, but hopefully you'll find them humorous. I do.
The morning after the last election, I said, we owe Donald Trump an open mind and the chance to lead. I meant it. Every president deserves that.
So, yeah, she...
Was that a laugh track?
I couldn't help it, Joe. I had to...
I was watching that. I don't recall that.
Yeah, I had to add my own commentary, I suppose. Here's Hillary number 2.
Vote for honest elections so we, not a foreign adversary, choose our president.
I don't know why, but the last track... Okay.
Come on, we're just having fun here, folks.
Yeah, we are, but I think the laugh track adds an unexpected twist.
Well, I'm glad you appreciate that. Number 3.
And don't forget, Joe and Kamala can win by 3 million votes and still lose. Take it from me.
Somebody should have reached out and handed her a handkerchief at that.
Yeah.
When she said that.
And then my last one here, although this one is, there's no laugh track here. This is just, it is what it is. But
so come November, if we're strong together, we'll heal together. We'll redeem the soul and the promise of our country, led by President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris.
So that's how she wrapped things up, and yeah, I guess I just I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where I think a sizable proportion of people who show up to vote won't be voting so much for Joe Biden, but they will be voting against Donald Trump.
Yep.
And if that's not the greatest.
Here's I'm not going to play this entire thing, but because you really needed to see the video, but there's a big that Vietnam era war protest song, For What It's Worth. Let's
hear it.
Well, the original is a great song, but it was redone by some guy named Billy Porter, and there's a guitarist, Steven Stills, who I believe is part of like Stills and Nash, the old classic rock. But you just got to see the video. I'll play a little bit of the song so you'll know what I'm talking about, but you'll have to look. You'll just have to watch the video, and this here was like when this video was tweeted out. it was just it's like they're literally just trying to lose this election. It's that cringeworthy. But here's the song. And I'll be honest, the song it's not a horrible remake.
Oh, I like this song. Oh, the original.
Yeah.
Something happened in here.
There's something happening here, but it ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. Think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Yeah, so
if we had a war we were fighting right now, that would have been a more apropos pick. But we don't have a war.
well, that's what I found was really interesting. Is that it is a Vietnam era war, anti-war song. So unless they're just considering themselves to be that they're in a war. It's
I mean, to say that Democrats have themselves in a wartime footing, that's only a little bit of hyperbole.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone say, "Oh yeah, the Democrats are on the war path," you would be like, "No, they're not." So, but yeah, I mean, it seemed like they should have played that song back in 2012 when we had two wars in Iraq and Iraq and Afghanistan, and 2000. Because 2016 too, because we had all those other wars all over Libya, Lebanon. To play that song now, it seems as if they chose the wrong election. They should have chose a different one.
Does the is the DNC? Is there still more stuff tonight, or has it been? Is it over? Like, did Joe accept the nomination and it's official now, or what?
He accepts the nomination tomorrow. Oh, sorry, tonight.
Tonight, okay.
So yesterday, Kamala Harris came up and gave her acceptance speech, and it was like, oh wow, yeah, great.
Well, there's a lot of people, and myself included, who really thought that there was going to be some shenanigans going on at the DNC this year, and that they would somehow at the last minute remove Joe and install somebody else. Maybe a Hillary or a Michelle, but unless something happens tonight, I don't know. It looks like they're really gonna.
I think there was a possibility of that had they not cleared the roster a few months ago with all those people just dropping out at the same time. Like had it been one of those things where they gone from state to state to state to state, and I think there would have been a chance of that. But since they nipped that in the bud months ago, or basically everybody just said, okay, we're not doing it. We're just gonna let Joe take it. So,
right.
I didn't think there was a possibility of that, but that would have made for a really dramatic. I mean, but how would they have done that? I mean, they weren't even together, so they could scheme and conspire.
Right. Just the circumstances of this year kind of made that impossible, I suppose.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah, next time. And there's I have one other clip, and this is AOC. What's her first name? Is it Andrea Ocasio-Cortez?
Yeah, Andrea, something like that. Yeah.
I'll be honest, Joe. I typically, especially when it comes to like political people, women in politics, or just women, women in general. I try not to talk about their physical appearances because I don't want to detract from
your critique of her other policies.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from their anything else. But I gotta say, man, something about this girl makes me feel funny.
Like happy funny,
in a good way. Like, I mean, I think she's an idiot. I think she's an idiot. But I will. I'll allow myself this one time to objectify someone and say, she's. I don't know. She's not hard to look at, is what I'll say.
She's not that's the best way of putting it. She's not hard to look at. You don't look at like, oh my God, I've got to look away. I'm sure we could think of some politician that you look at, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry for looking in your direction.
But I would have to have a mute button around her all the time. So
A mute button.
A mute button. So, but anyway, here was her, and you pointed out that she might have been slighted, and that makes sense. She's kind of leading the young rebellion against the old dogs of the party. So the fact that they may have slighted her is understandable.
You were way too generous with that. I mean, you said old dogs. You mean old dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they're both what, octogenarians?
I'm trying to be.
No, they're not. They're not. They're in their 70s. So they're close.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's dramatic how the party that's supposed to have new ideas is led by some very aged and entrenched people. We could put that.
Entrenched is good. Yeah.
We can say that, can't we?
Yeah. So this is what she had to say.
Good evening, bienvenidos, and thank you to everyone here today endeavoring to.
I love how she drops in these randomly drops in like a foreign language.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
It's a better, more just future for our country and our world. In fidelity and gratitude to a mass people's movement working to establish 21st century social, economic, and human rights, including guaranteed health care, higher education, living wages, and labor rights for all people in the United States. A movement striving to recognize and repair the wounds of racial injustice, colonization, misogyny, and homophobia, and to propose and build reimagined systems of immigration and foreign policy that turn away from the violence and xenophobia of our past. A movement that realizes the unsustainable brutality of an economy that rewards explosive inequalities of wealth for the few at the expense of long-term stability for the many, and who organized a historic grassroots campaign to reclaim our democracy. In a time when millions of people in the United States are looking for deep, systemic solutions to our crises of mass evictions, unemployment, and lack of health care, en el espíritu del pueblo and out of a love for all people, I hereby second the nomination of Senator Bernard Sanders of Vermont for President of the United States of America.
Cut the mic. She wasn't supposed to say that.
Gotta smile at that. So.
Oh yeah. I like the style of it all. She's like, oh yeah, I know I'm supposed to go on the air and support what's his face, but I can't do that.
Yeah, I
don't feel like it.
Yeah, I can appreciate the spunk, the spirit.
Yeah. Once again, that goes in that category of cojones. It's like let's stand up in front of all you mofos.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, I know I'm going to go off the script because I don't like you. You may disagree with her, but I've got a little bit more respect for her afterwards.
Very good, very good.
Because I mean, the thing is like you said that you usually don't pay attention to or make comment upon female congressmen, and that makes sense. I often don't. I've really never listened to much of what she says.
Right. Because
when push comes to shove, she's a first-term junior congresswoman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not even guaranteed that she's going to be there next time. So
I heard something after she was elected, and I never took the time to investigate it, but I heard that she was almost like just someone picked her, almost like an
audition, like auditioning for like a boy band.
Yeah, something like that. They just kind of picked her and decided that they was going to run her, and it makes you wonder how much of what she says is really her, or I mean, I don't know.
Well, I would say, as with all politicians, you have to wonder, okay, if they just said 10 words, how many of those words were put in their mouth by various individuals? I just kind of take that as baking to the cake. But I think with her, even more so.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because you can't, I mean, it'd be one thing if you could point back to this long record, oh, she was an activist back at 12 years old, and here's a little picture of little AOC, protesting against X, Y, or Z, or anything. But the fact that she just literally came out of nowhere, but she's like, what, 28 years old or something like that?
Right.
I mean, just literally out of nowhere. It's like, one day she's, waiting tables according to her, and the next thing you know, she's beating a 10-term incumbent.
Yeah.
That just happened by accident. I mean.
Yeah, by accident. So, good point.
All right, oops.
Moving on, are you going to sell your Apple stock now?
My Apple stock, yeah, right. My Apple stock is exactly zero Apple stock. A little too rich for my blood.
Yeah. So, so they made I guess their earnings announcement was kind of unexpected recently, right?
It's been a good year if you're Apple.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently, let's see here, the iPhone maker first crossed $1 trillion. Oh, okay, I got it twisted. Wait, so it says, I thought that they had first, well, let me see here. Okay, so they first hit $1 trillion 2 years ago, but I guess it went under that for some time. But then it hit $2 trillion again this year. And then it said Apple stock is up nearly 60% this year. So it hit $1 trillion in March. Much of the increase has come since late March, showing just how much the coronavirus has boosted the fortunes of big tech companies as people rely on technology for work, school, and entertainment. But so it went up to it hit $1 trillion 2 years ago for the very first time. Then it went back down, and then hit $1 trillion again in March. And then from there, it's gone up 60%. And so, I think it's probably a good time to sell your Apple shares if you have some.
Good Lord. Can't even fathom that kind of money, man. And we talked, it's just, that's a lot of money on paper, I suppose, but still, that's just.
But the crazy thing is, I mean, I know what the U.S. government takes in. I think the U.S. government takes in like $3.5 trillion in taxes every year. Let me see here. U.S. Tax revenues 2018. Let's see here. Okay, 2018, the U.S. government took in $3.3 trillion. So, Apple is worth 2/3 of all the taxes that. Wait a second. Something sounds broken, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, yeah. When I first, I think I sent this to you. Today or yesterday?
Yeah.
And it literally just dawned on me, like, wait a second, that's how much the U.S. government takes in taxes, and then what Apple takes in about it. Wow. So what did that tell you, man? That one company is worth 2/3 almost of all the money taken in by the U.S. government.
Yeah, it's unfathomable. You can't fathom it. It's I don't know, man. And
that makes me think when you have something like that makes me think that the system that is in play is very unstable. Because, I mean, I keep on saying it. I wish I were more articulate so I could find other words to explain why that just seems so lopsided.
well,
I mean, for example, how many tanks does Apple own? Or aircraft carriers, or bombers.
that I know of, none.
That's probably a very apropos and appropriate way of phrasing it. That you know of. Yeah, it'd be kind of scary to find out that they did. But yeah, I just thought that was off the wall, and I think that points to a system that is off kilter and unstable.
So does that money then, is that $2 trillion after taxes, or is that going to be taxed, or?
Apple doesn't pay taxes.
Well,
when you have $2 trillion, you can buy the legislation that you don't have to pay taxes.
all right, fine. That was a stupid question, I guess.
Just don't let it happen again, Brian. I mean, just like you were saying earlier, we only get one chance to not record. That's your dumb question for the day. Okay?
Yeah, that was my dumb question for the day. All right. So Hot Mic, are you familiar with Hot Mic? Have you heard of Hot Mic?
I've heard that a lot of politicians love to say silly, foolish things around hot mics. Wait a second, isn't a hot mic? Isn't that what got Donald Trump?
Yeah,
And he's talking about grabbing women and
possibly a hot mic. Yeah, a hot mic has caught a lot of people.
so what exactly is a hot mic? Just for that measure.
Just a microphone that everybody thinks is turned off, but is alive and well, and recording, and someone's listening.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of this guy who says the most dangerous gun in the world is the one that you're pretty sure is empty.
Yeah.
So what happened here?
So this is a local story, but here in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Reds is our baseball team, and one of the radio announcers is a guy named Tom Brenneman. Well, was Tom? He was an announcer.
Hey, quick question: do they have a winning? They have a winning season this year?
You know what? I don't know. I'm through. I'm F1 is the only sport I'm following this year, and yeah, I'm just.
I didn't realize they were playing baseball again.
Yeah, I think they just started maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. But so
I guess he must have been out of practice because as soon as he found himself around a microphone again, he just couldn't help himself.
Yeah, I should have been more ready. I lost my story here.
It's on the show note.
I know. I'm trying to find it.
All right.
Oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, he So in Cincinnati, Reds broadcaster Tom Brenneman has been suspended after using a homophobic slur during the broadcast of Cincinnati's game against the Kansas City Royals on Wednesday. According to Jeff Passan, an MLB insider for ESPN, Brenneman was caught on a hot mic saying one of the expletive capitals of the world while broadcasting before the top of the 7th inning in the first game of a doubleheader. And then they have the tweet. The tweet is a longtime Cincinnati Reds announcer Tom Brenneman was caught on a hot mic saying one of the fag capitals of the world. He is currently announcing the second game of the Reds doubleheader against Kansas City.
Oh, wait. What was he referring to? I'm sure he wasn't referring to Kansas City as a capital.
I don't think they say what city he was talking about, but it doesn't matter. He didn't finish the game. He didn't finish the game, and then I would have just skipped over this, but when I heard it on the news this morning, and then I found this story and read it. I couldn't believe how, like I told you before we started, people are, and there's just not very much exaggeration here. People are more mad at him for this than they got mad at those cops in Minnesota or those two guys in Georgia. I mean, the reaction to this, you would think that he had done something far, far worse.
Well, I'm sure there is a string of dead bodies behind what he said, because I mean, you're right. If people got that mad, someone died, right?
You would think so.
No.
But I just.
Did they say who called the rest of the game?
Yeah, but it was no one I recognized.
It's like the call of a lifetime. That's that call people wait for their entire career.
Yeah, he's
like, hey, you know, get in the game. Who, me, coach? Yeah, you. Run up in that booth and yeah, the other guy said something really stupid, so yeah, you don't have to worry about him anymore. It's yours to mess up.
Later in the game, Brenneman issued an apology to the public, saying he is deeply sorry and prides himself on being a man of faith. Brenneman also said that he doesn't know if he will still have a job. I don't know if I will be putting on this headset again, he said. He then issued another apology to anyone who was offended. I'm very, very sorry and beg for your forgiveness, he said. Brenneman then left the game in the top of the fifth inning and was replaced by Jim Day on the broadcast.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing: I don't really have much else to say about it. It's just the reaction to it is what I consider an overreaction, but it's to be expected nowadays. But here's the thing I can say for Tom. Thankfully, his dad is Marty Brenneman, who in the Cincinnati area is an absolute legend, and along with Joe Nuxall. But they were the voice of the Cincinnati Reds for the 80s, some of the 90s, and maybe even probably some of the 70s. And so even though Tom fucked up and did this, he's always going to be known as being the son of Marty Brenneman, and everyone in Cincinnati can appreciate this.
Done up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
This one belongs to the Reds.
Oh, no, that's just. Well, I'm surprised he didn't call up his dad and ask for some pointers, because if his dad's been, a sports broadcaster since the 70s, I'm sure he said something in front of a hot mic that he wasn't supposed to have said.
Shit, Marty Brenneman just officially retired last year and went out on top in a high, and he's probably not even taking his son's calls today. Sorry, son, you're on your own.
Yeah, I had restraint back in my day.
So yeah, but anyway, everyone remembers and this one belongs to the Reds. I can remember being a kid playing out in the backyard, and Dad would be up taking a shower, and he'd have the window open and the radio in the window, and you'd hear the Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall calling the games. Nostalgia.
But I think he's gonna. I mean, I think he'll go away for a season or two, and then he'll be back.
I know you don't believe in, you don't buy all this cancel culture shit, but I'm telling you, man.
Well, I mean, in 2 to 3 years, on episode 120, when we're episode 120, and we look back and we're like, oh my goodness, Marty Brenneman's his son's calling a game again. We'll look back to episode 16 and I'll be like, I told you so.
I'm telling you, he's going to be with Christina Cooper on Exile Island, and
With who?
Christina Cooper.
I was joking, but yeah, who is she?
Yeah, exactly. She's nobody. She was canceled. So, anyway.
Well, speaking of canceled, I think I might get canceled after this.
This is going to be fun.
What, Joe getting canceled?
Well, this conversation, because look, we can't hold back on, we can be diplomatic about things, but if something needs to be talked about, I don't think it'd be fair to our millions and millions of listeners to
hold back
and not discuss it. So
and because we don't do the easy things here, we have to go and talk about this. And so
I think it does need to be talked about.
And so what are we talking about?
Well, let's talk.
I just want to make sure I hear it in your words, so I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Transphobia, and what exactly is it? Because you initially started this with you said, I think I might be transphobic, as though that's is that a bad thing? I mean, we're kind of conditioned to, yeah, of course it's a bad thing, but I think that it's something that I don't think it's that simple.
Well, and that's what made me think about it. It was I don't know how I came across it, but I think I was looking up the term transphobia because I was like, it's homophobia. Okay, I think I understand that. Like, okay, but I thought to myself, I think that transphobia has some gray areas that aren't necessarily the same with homophobia or any other type of phobia. And so I went up to PlannedParenthood.org and I found what I thought was a working definition of transphobia. You want to hear it?
I absolutely do. Please.
So, what is transphobia? Transphobia is the fear, hatred, disbelief, or mistrust of people who are transgender, thought to be transgender, or whose gender expression doesn't conform to traditional gender roles. Transphobia can prevent transgender and gender non-conforming peoples from living full lives free from harm. And so, let me say that again. So, little elements is the fear, ding, hatred, ding, disbelief or mistrust of people who are transgender. And so I was like, holy crap! I mean, like. And what made me think about this was, you ever hear there's a comedian called W. Kamau Bell?
No, I've not.
Well, he does a series on CNN. It's like the United Colors or United Stripes of America or something like that.
Okay.
And it's basically like a weekly show that he does. He talks about various issues of race. And so I think last weekend he did a show on reparations. And the weekend before that, he did a show on education disparities. But as part of his little explanation of this, he said, "Hey, racism. Think of racism as an iceberg, okay? And so there's the stuff you see at the surface on the surface of the iceberg, but then there's all this other stuff you don't see that's part of the iceberg. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
And so." Like he said, okay, well, like for example, for racism, there are the people whom you look at and you're like, yeah, okay, they are plainly and clearly racist. Think of those people are the skinheads, neo-Nazis, some of the white power folks. So those are the and some of the actions that calling people the N-word, going out and burning crosses, doing stuff like the KKK. Those are clearly unambiguously racist, but but below the surface, that the other stuff, it may not necessarily be so clear and cut. So other things that are not on the surface but are below the surface might be in terms of race, just attitudes, thinking that somebody is inferior because of their skin color, but not necessarily coming out and saying it. Basically, the idea being is that you can be a racist and not the guy who's screaming obscenities in the street, so to speak.
Okay.
I know Bill Burr, he did a bit too where he says, hey, you watch TV and you'll see like, the TV racist is a guy on the street corner yelling out obscenities and say, yeah, we hate X, Y, and Z. But he's like, in real life racism doesn't work that way. It's much more subtle. And so that's what got me thinking about this whole transphobia thing. And so some of the elements or some of the things that I found to help me determine if I was transphobic are the following. Transphobia can take many forms, including negative attitudes and beliefs towards transgender people. And so when I thought of that, when I heard that, I thought to myself, man, like, do I have, in general, en masse, do I have negative attitudes towards transgender people? And my first thought is, well, no. Like, if you're transgender, you can do whatever you want. But at the same time, the second part of my mind says, well, I kind of think that if you're a transgender person, there's probably something wrong with you. I mean, you believe that you are in the wrong type of body. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
don't answer.
Well, to that point, I believe that there is I think that there is a mental component for some, and I do believe that, and I feel sympathy for people, and it's only on a few occasions have I seen someone who I've looked at and they just look
like really uncomfortable.
Yeah, they look so uncomfortable in their own skin, and I just can't help but. I mean, I remember one time being at a gas station and seeing obviously a guy, but he was dressed as a woman and he was pumping gas, and I just remember looking at him and was like, God damn, he just looks so uncomfortable in his skin, and I just felt bad for him. And
well, yeah, I mean, if you woke up one day and you were convinced that you were a woman born in a man's body, that would screw me up in untold ways.
Yeah, and I think that there may be medical science for some that backs that up, that can happen. But I think that is those people are such a small minority of, and here I go, I'm the one that's going to jump in it, but I think that those are the small minority of the people who, for whatever reason, just decide that they're going to identify as something else.
It's like the it thing to do.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was getting at. I don't know why I had such a hard time saying that, but yeah, it's the thing.
It's one of those unpopular opinions that we're always worrying about. So when I look at it that way, okay, do I have negative attitudes / beliefs? I would say yes. Any objective inventory of my thoughts towards transgender people will probably come out with being, yeah, you have negative attitudes and beliefs. The second one, aversion to and prejudice against transgender people. So let's see here. Aversion. To me, that word means kind of like dislike, or not even dislike, but just probably. Let me just look it up. Just get measure.
Yeah, I think we need the definition of it.
I'm pretty sure I know what it means, but in these types of things, it's best to. Let's see here. a strong dislike or disinclination. A strong dislike or disinclination.
Oh man.
A disinclination is the same as not liking somebody. But I don't. Huh.
I don't think I have a dislike for. I don't think I have a real dislike for just about anyone.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really work on it for me to be like, yeah, I don't like you.
Right.
But I mean, like if I saw somebody who was a transgender person, I would never think to myself, yeah, it's time. This person's a target, and it's my job and my duty, and I'm going to enjoy making fun of them and belittling them. And so,
yeah,
that would never cross my mind.
Maybe this is going. Maybe this is going to come up in another one of your criteria here. But I would think that I would never do that. But given the option, I wouldn't choose to hang out with. I just wouldn't choose to hang out with.
Well, yeah, like so if someone if I was like, hey Brian, let's go and we're gonna bring over Judy.
Right.
My transgender friend, I'd be like, maybe I'll stay home. Right. But yeah, so I don't have a strong dislike or disinclination, but I'm not like seeking them out. I'm like, and this sounds terrible, but hanging out with a transgender person to me would not be the same as hanging out with a guy, or hanging out with a girl, or even hanging out with a gay person for that matter.
Right.
And so. And so I think I might have to say yes in terms of the whole negative attitudes and beliefs and aversion to it. I think that, when you just put your finger on it, I wouldn't seek them out, and I also would not welcome their company. I think that would probably, suggest there's an aversion to. Mm-hmm. And so I would count myself as likely to be check the second box as well. So that's just me. Third criteria, irrational fear and misunderstanding. I don't have an irrational fear, but there is a fairly significant amount of misunderstanding. Like I just can't for the life of me understand who would, and like you said earlier, some portion of that is okay. This person believes they're in the wrong body, and as a result, they suffer greatly. But I think there still is there's not an irrational fear. I don't think they're coming to get me. I don't have fear. Huh?
I don't think that it's possible to understand, because the rules have been changed in such that it's pretty much anything goes, right?
Yeah.
We may get to this later, but I mean, if someone just decides that they're going to identify as
the opposite sex.
Yeah, you know what? I want to keep going. I'm sorry. I want to look up something. I want to see if I took some pictures of something. I'm sorry. Go ahead and
Oh yeah, so I think I think I don't have the irrational fear. I do have the misunderstanding, and thank you for putting your finger on it. There's probably 0 to very small chance I would ever have any real understanding of what it means to do that. So I would probably give myself 3-0.
Yeah. And let me interject something, if you don't mind, real quick.
Sure, of course.
This week at work, I was taking I had to take the office harassment courses, that you have to take every year.
Mm-hmm.
And my, how they've changed over the years.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up.
Well, I don't know whether these will apply or not, but I just couldn't help myself. I had to take some snapshots of what I was reading here. Here's a definition. The definition for sexual orientation.
All right.
Sexual orientation describes a pattern of attraction, emotional, romantic, sexual, or some combination of these, to the opposite sex, the same sex, or both sexes, and the genders that accompany them. These attractions are generally subsumed under heterosexuality, homosexuality, and bisexuality. So I mean, it's almost like, I mean, it's just like, if that doesn't just say anything goes, I don't know what does.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2020. Anything does go.
Gender. Here's one for gender, gender identity, and gender expression. Gender may include a person's sex assigned at birth, and also includes gender identity and gender expression.
Mm-hmm.
Gender identity refers to a person's self-identification as male, female, a combination of both, neither male or female, or transgender, regardless of sex assigned at birth. Gender expression refers to a person's gender-related appearance or behavior, whether or not stereotypically associated with the person's assigned sex at birth, e.g. dress, grooming, mannerisms. So how can you not be complicated or confused or not understand?
Yeah, you have some level of misunderstanding as to what's going on.
And this isn't necessarily completely related, but there's a phrase here that in the definition for marital or family status and a medical condition, and there's a phrase that's used in both of these that I just think is just, it says marital status refers to the real or perceived marital status.
Oh, well, so if you can dream it in your head.
Yeah, and then a medical condition includes any real or perceived health impairment.
Oh snap!
So
yeah, we just went off the reservation there.
So I mean, how can you not be confused or not understand when definitions have become watered down like that? I mean,
so I think what you're saying, man, is that we're all transphobic now, and that makes me feel much better.
Well, I identify as non-transphobic, so what do you say? What do you say about that?
Well, if you perceive it, so I guess they're.
I perceive.
Yeah, you perceive, and so we have to give you some benefit of any doubt. But let me get through the other one.
I'm sorry.
No worries. That was enlightening because it helped me not feel as bad. Next one: disbelief or discounting preferred pronouns or gender identity.
Yeah.
Disbelief. So it's like, okay, if I look at this person and the person has the long hair, the makeup, but to me they clearly are a man, do I disbelieve them when they say they're transgender? No, because you're putting on, I mean, you're wearing the woman uniform. So, discounting preferred pronouns or gender identity. I think, and this is speaking for me, and Joe High alone, I probably check that box as well, because the whole I've got a problem. I'm a terrible transphobe apparently. Let me go the next two.
Okay.
Derogatory language and name calling. I would never do that.
No.
So I'm not. I don't go out of my way to say or to antagonize and terrorize people who are trans.
It was only a few years ago that tranny was just a descriptive word that was widely used, and that was not long ago.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because I found myself not using that word just a moment ago. One of those words I'm like, yeah, that's not a word you should be using when you're trying to speak intelligently about this. But so derogatory language and name calling, you don't do that. Bullying, abuse, and even violence. Yeah, I'm clearly not that. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, I either have touches of, or I could see myself being, I'm that guy. But the last two, derogatory language and name calling, not so much. Bullying / abuse and violence, never me. So, I mean, so that's one portion of it. But the other portion of it is, are you transphobic? Let's say the first 5, I was not any of those, and the last 2, I wasn't those as well. Okay, so let's just say I'm totally good in terms of attitude, my aversion, no irrational fear or understanding. if I didn't use derogatory language. But let's say I'm going to all those, but certain aspects of the transgender, what word am I looking for? Agenda. That's where transgender agenda.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're taking it this way because this is where I wanted to go as well. Go ahead.
Right. So let's say I don't do any of that stuff, but some elements of the transgender agenda I disagree with. So, and I'm going to break this down into several levels. There's just walking around being alive, right? Okay. There's the desire to engage in civil, civil contracts such as marriage and stuff like that. Then there's the ability to change their, let's say, change their ID, their driver's license, stuff like that. And the last one is, should they have the ability to change their birth certificate? So you want to walk down this plank with me, or do you just want me to go answer these questions myself?
You know,
you can chime in or change your mind later.
Yeah, let's go. Let's discuss it. It's part of it.
Yeah, I mean we're trying to be reasonable.
Yeah.
We would try to do a decent job of being halfway serious about it. So
before we even start, something that's kind of bothers me right now is just how on eggshells we feel that we have to be just to have this conversation.
They say fear of God is the beginning of all wisdom.
It makes me mad that I'm allowing myself to feel this way, but I do. So it is what it is. Go.
Well, and as you said, we both live in the real world, so let's not kid ourselves. But the first one, am I the levels of the transgender agenda? Transgender is just walking around enjoying life. No, don't have a problem with it. I mean, I don't think they should be rounded up or forced into re-education camps or anything like that. I don't. I'm kind of like a lot of people. Hey, I don't want it, in my face, but you're free to do whatever you want, in your own privacy.
My word, my thoughts exactly. I don't care what you do.
You, actually.
Yeah. So the thing is. And I want to say this, and it'll probably apply to everything that we discuss from here on, is there is a I used to jokingly refer to them as the mafia, but like there is a section of in this group that are militant, and acceptance isn't enough. You have to wholeheartedly endorse. So just the fact that we accept that they, if they want to, do whatever is fine with us, that's not enough for some people. There has to be, we have to show complete fealty to their cause.
Yeah, you have to kiss the ring.
Yeah. And so I want to make that distinction. But as far as what we were just talking about, I'm with you. Yeah. Do what you want, leave me alone. I don't really care what you do as long as you don't.
As long as they're consenting adults.
Yeah.
So the moment you start bringing in non-consenting adults or non-adults, problems. But hey, two people want to make decisions that change how they are physically or how they are mentally. That's more power to you. This is America in 2020. Go ahead at it.
I'll be honest. If I seen a dude making out with a transgender, I would avert my eyes. But
exactly, yeah. So I mean, and that's what makes me think about that whole aversion to. So even if I'm watching TV, if I'm watching Netflix, and the gay couple is the male gay couple. Let me be clarify that is kissing. I'm not looking. I avert the eyes. I fast forward, and so am I a horrible homophobe? Am I? I don't know. I don't want to see two men kissing. Does that make me a homophobe? Maybe. I might have a slight touch of it, but I'm owning that. So the second one, them getting married. Should they be able to get married? I guess my thing is like, why should they not? Why should they be deprived of the ability to be miserable?
Right.
So I mean,
well,
misery loves company.
I'll carry when it came to gay marriage 10 years ago, my belief was, if the argument is that they're going to make a mockery of marriage, well,
the 50% divorce rate has already done that.
Yeah, people already treat marriage as though they're just dating, and marriage, if you're looking at it from that sense, marriage has already lost its meaning. So now we're just talking about privileges that you get from the state. So,
and if you look at it that way, and that is a matter of privileges, that are derived from the state, I'm wholeheartedly for them getting every privilege that they deserve.
Sure, I don't care.
So, all right, so that's and this one we're 0-2. So, like, if you were like, I just can't stand the sight of transgender people being alive. I hate them. That would be, oh crap, he doesn't want them walking around. Second one, we're like insofar as we don't mind them. We don't mind. We support them having the right to be married. Okay, so that's level 2. Level 3, should they be able to change their ID?
I don't. So what advantage would they get from changing their ID?
Well, for a lot of them, the whole let's see here. One moment. Transphobia can prevent transgender and gender non-conforming people from living full lives, free from harm. So I think them getting the whole change of license, that's, hey, if you want to look like a woman and talk like a woman and dress like a woman, I guess that you want your ID to say that you're a woman.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if I lost weight, and I thought I looked better than I'd looked on my driver's license, I'd want to get a new ID.
But in this case, you lost your penis and found some breast.
Well, if okay. I can be as vain as the next transgender person.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I like that. Like, hey, I lost some weight, and I thought hey, yeah. Last level, should they be able to change their birth certificate?
Again, I don't know what you gain from it. Is this? I feel like one of these we got to be dancing around the whole issue of what locker rooms do they get to use and stuff like that. Would that be tied to your birth certificate?
Yes, 1,000 times yes. If somebody walks up to you, if you're a high school or college athletics director, and a person walks into your office and says, "I'm a woman, and I want to play on the women's track and field team," and they show you a legal certificate of birth that says that they're a woman, and you can look at them and tell that they didn't start that way.
Right.
Yeah. So, what say you here?
Because
and once again, don't feel like you have to answer this question.
No, I'll answer it, but in the context of, again, we live in we have to deal with reality on reality's terms, and in that case, something like this would just be too ripe for abuse. It would impinge on women's real women's rights. Can I say? See, I feel bad. I felt like canceled for saying real women, but it would, if we lived in a perfect world where where this wouldn't be abused, maybe, but we've already seen it being abused, and and if it was like law of the land, it would absolutely be abused all the time. And
Well, I am surprised you said that. Well, I'll answer that question myself. Yeah, I don't think they should be able to change their birth certificate.
yeah, I agree.
It's one thing to be who you are. It's another thing to how do you say it? It's one thing to be who you are. It's another thing to trick someone to believing something that you're not.
Right.
But that goes into the question that we were just putting our finger on. So if they're able to change their birth certificate, then are they able to go and go into women's locker rooms? Are they able to compete in women's sports? If you're a woman, you should if you're a woman and you believe that there is that your gender still means something, good, bad, or indifferent, I think you should be against that. But I'm sure that one of our millions of listeners will comment, and they might call us up and set us straight.
Please do, because this is a topic that's not going away. It might have taken a back burner for a while we deal with some other issues, but it'll be back.
And so, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how horrible a transphobe am I? Am I frothing at the mouth?
I don't think so, Joe. I'd say no. I think that I don't think that we are. We may feel, it may let us feel uncomfortable, or make us feel uncomfortable, but dude, you're fucking human beings, man.
Yeah.
And I want to tell a quick story just to lighten things up. And
please do.
And I may have told you this already, but I don't think I told it on the show. But before I left downtown, there was Arnold's Bar and Grill was right next door too.
Oh yeah, we love that place. Remember?
Yeah. And
we had some good times there.
Yeah. And the last couple times I went there, my waitress was a transgender person. It was a guy who was obviously a guy, but and actually kind of had the vibe of he was uncomfortable in his skin, kind of a deal. And so I had him the last 2 times I went there. I had her. But
it's not easy.
It's not, and I went the entire evening, getting serving my drinks, my food, and all that, and everything was cool, and I was chill and everything, and it's just because of who I am, and I don't think that it had anything necessarily. It didn't have anything to do with transgender or anything, but it's just she brought my my credit card back, and I signed it, and just instinctively I'm like, thanks, dude. It's just instinctively, and I was like, oh, so good the entire night about being mindful of it, and then the last thing I said was, thanks, dude.
Yeah, it's all those cool points just went out the window.
Yeah, and I did that both times.
Really?
Both times.
But hey, I want to, in terms of something that might shock you, most states permit name and sex to be changed on a birth certificate, either by amending an existing birth certificate or issuing a new one. Some states require medical proof of sex reassignment to do so. These include Texas, New York, Nevada has recently eliminated their requirement for surgery. So these states are playing hardball. If you want to say you're a transgender, they literally want your balls on a plate.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. But you know what? Hey, if you're willing to go under the knife, I mean, if
That's a special kind of dedication. I don't think even Bruce Jenner went under the knife, did he?
No. He got himself some tits, and he kept his balls.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to take the knife, I might have to change my stance on that. If you're willing to go under the knife, there's nothing I can deny you, man, or woman. So.
Amen.
All right. Well, so we're not frothing at the mouth, but we're. But and I actually think this is a good conversation to have had because, it's this is gonna sound terrible. Their fight isn't my fight, but I guess I can recognize that. Hey, you people are people as well, and there's certain things that that aren't right in the world for you, and by my attitudes, I may in some way be contributing to that. And so, it's not saying that being a transphobe is a badge of honor, but it is something to be mindful of.
Sure.
So there you go. Man, yeah, this went very serious. But well, man, we got this other serious topic too.
Yeah. They may not have found who killed Tupac, and they may not have found who killed Biggie yet. Although some people think that they're still alive and well on some island somewhere because Tupac keeps releasing music.
Yeah.
But
and we have sightings, him and Elvis.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. But you know what?
What's that?
Yeah. So apparently, I can't believe that it's been this long, but Jam Master Jay of Run DMC was murdered many years ago, and they've arrested 2 men for the murder.
You know what? I mean, the whole long arm of the law, that's a good thing. You don't get to go around.
I can't believe it. 18 years ago is when he was murdered. I can't believe it was that long ago.
It was 2002?
Yeah.
Wow. So about how old was he?
Probably, I don't know. It says here the 37-year-old Jay was shot once in the head by a masked assailant, police said at the time. He left behind a wife and 3 children.
And they said he was running what?
Well, that's the sad part of it. Is this was all?
Actually, are we besmirching his memory by talking about that?
No, I don't think so. It makes me sad that he was all wrapped up in the drug trade. Apparently, he was. I don't know if he was orchestrating it or. It's kind of hard to tell from the reporting, but here's this is from The Sun. Hip hop legend Jam Master Jay was transporting 1.7 million in cocaine as part of a criminal conspiracy that went sour and led to his murder, court docs claim. So, yeah.
Yeah, that guy was moving some serious weight. $1.7 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this wasn't the amateur hour. Holy shite.
Yeah, so I'm glad that there's going to be some justice, I suppose, but there's not. It doesn't mean a whole lot, I suppose, but
yeah, it doesn't bring him back. It doesn't,
But yeah, at least there's some justice. So maybe Tupac and Biggie have a chance.
Well, so I mean, it was 18 years for these guys, and Tupac and Biggie. They were shot in the 90s, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, it's a little bit longer. Hey, hope springs eternal, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
So, what was your favorite favorite cut of his?
My favorite Run DMC song was probably Rock Box.
Rock Box?
Yeah, it's a song, Rock Box. Maybe I'll put that at the end of this show for not for the YouTube people, but for everyone else. I might stick Rock Box at the end of this podcast as a little tribute to Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had we were together. We could pour out something for our homie.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that one day. We'll do that next time.
Yeah, we'll get together for a drink.
So let's talk
about the homie.
Yeah. Let's talk about one of the old school players. That was cheap.
Yeah, I mean, but just say old school players is kind of not really giving it justice, really.
Yeah, Bill Clinton. There's a pretty, even if it's not an illegal picture, or it's not a picture of an illegal act, it's a pretty damning picture that I'm pretty sure he would have rather it not come out this week. And I'm sure that there's no coincidence at all that it was released this week.
Not at all. Pure happenstance. But what picture are you referring to, man?
Mr. Clinton kicked back in a chair, just in the big alpha male legs spread wide open. Like they complain about man spreading or whatever. Getting a massage from a beautiful little blonde chick. Who was apparently, not just a blonde chick, but apparently someone that had been recruited by G-Max, or Jeffrey Epstein's recruiter. I don't know what term I'm looking for, but
there's a word.
I
think the Bible, in biblical times, she would have been called not a whoremonger. Because, but they had a specific word for her. We'll figure that out and come back to it. But there was a picture. I think the picture was taken. I think it was in South Africa or something like that.
Was it? Okay.
Like in a South African airport, and it shows one of the Jeffrey Epstein accusers giving Bill Clinton a back rub. Now,
an airport. That's why I thought that was such a weird place to be.
Yeah, it
getting a massage, but yeah, it was in a fucking airport. Of course, it makes sense now.
When you're Bill Clinton, it seemed like he's got the worst luck with airports. Because I remember when I was a kid, and he had first become president, he had gotten like a haircut on Air Force One and said something about it jammed up the air traffic for the western portion of the United States, and so Clinton airports is just he should just stay away from them. But she was 22 years old at the time. She was legal at the time, but she was also a person who had been abused by Epstein, and so and it seems as if Bill Clinton keeps on finding himself in circles that he probably should have known better than to be in.
Yeah, I just don't. I think this picture was just a snapshot of one of many indiscretions that he's partaken in, and I don't know. Who am I to judge? More power to him, I guess. But unless they were like 16 or something. Now, if they're 17 and a half, okay, but
no. But if they're 17 and a half or 16 in South Africa, who knows?
Yeah, what are the rules? What are the rules in South Africa? I don't know.
Yeah, as far as we know, the rules could have been written such that she could be 12 and be okay. We don't know, but you'd figure that Bill Clinton should have a little bit more. There's no doubt he's a very smart guy. It's odd because this is a dirty little secret of mine. I really enjoy watching Bill Clinton speak. I think he's good.
He's a good speaker.
He's like the smoothest guy in any room.
I've heard that about him.
Well, I mean, I just get that sense just by seeing him on television. Like, yeah, yeah, I could see. I mean, I always thought, and I think I may have said this earlier, that if he didn't become president of the United States, he probably would have become like a cult leader, or have one of those Jim Jones operations where he's got got little old ladies sending him money and stuff like that.
I've heard. I mean, I've seriously. You say that, man. I mean, I've heard other people say that he's like one of those type of guys that, like when you're talking to him, he'll just grab your hand and you shake your hand and just kind of hold it there and just look at you and make you feel like you're the only person in the room, kind of a deal.
Like you're walking on sunshine.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this picture might have just been like a warning shot. Like,
oh yeah,
like
a shot across the bow.
Yeah, so it might be G-Max saying, hey, you better take care of me, and not in the Jeffrey Epstein way.
Like, oh, take care of me. Wait a second. Wait. Let me choose my words more carefully.
Yeah, because I think they said I think she's released the fact that she's got like a dead man trigger, right? Like if something happens to her.
I should hope she does. After
she's got a lot of damning evidence. It's like ready to be sent out.
Well, I mean, she'd be the dumbest chick in the world if she didn't, right?
And I don't think she's a dumb chick.
Not at all, and not at all. Yeah. It will be folly to. But yeah, it's funny because they say this picture was taken several years after. Like 2 years after he was out of office. And one of the reasons this is important is because apparently Jeffrey Epstein had an island, and on that island he used to do things that were, just illegal with young women. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Apparently, 2 people have placed Bill Clinton there, as in, yeah, he was on that island. Yeah, he was doing all that stuff with the underage girls, and yeah, he knew what was going on. But apparently right now he's still denying it. But I mean, if it's one of those things that comes out before the election, that might make it for an interesting.
Who was it that something about the Nile, not just a river? Who said that? Who?
I think that may have been the great philosopher Joachim Hayek.
Yeah, I think that's where I heard it from. Yeah.
But speaking about presidential polls,
yeah, these are fun. What do you got? Because I've seen all kinds of. I think there's a poll for every persuasion, but what interesting polls do you have for us?
I just had one up. Let me see if I can pull it back. I must have. Let's see here. But basically, I've seen polls that show Biden up by 12 points.
Okay.
Biden up by 10 points. And the last poll I saw showed that Biden was up. I guess it was tightening in that. They said like 49% of the population that said they were excited for coming out and voting for Biden, whereas Trump had slipped to 46 to 48%. And so, I mean, it's 2016 over again. It's one of those things that do these guys ever learn from their mistakes? And yeah, I'm not convinced that there's that whole being reflective and being what, maybe we put all the stock in these polls last time and it wasn't the real deal. Maybe we should not do that.
Scott Adams has a term, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but you'll get the idea. I think he calls them shy voters or shy supporters of it. Basically, they're people who just won't tell the truth to a pollster.
Oh yeah. They'll walk in. Oh yeah, I could never vote for such and such because he's a this and he's a that, and then go in there and pull a lever for him and think nothing of it.
Yeah, or and I think that there's a level of fear to it. They just don't want to be. They don't want to be ridiculed for it. But I mean, I'll tell you right now. I mean, if I was if I was talking, I don't know that I would admit to supporting him out in public. I for damn sure wouldn't put a "Make America Great Again" sticker on my car.
You don't have a hat?
I wouldn't wear a hat either, man.
I was being ridiculous.
Yeah. But I just because
who needs that stigma in their life?
Yeah.
Over something that's none of your business. That makes all the sense in the world. Why you would lie to a pollster? You're a pollster whom I'll never see again.
Yeah, it's weird, right? I agree that I really am afraid that I'm not afraid, but I'm thinking that these people are setting themselves up for another post-election hangover, maybe even worse than Hillary. But I'm wondering, is it possible that I'm so convinced that Trump is going to win in a landslide that I'm the one who's setting myself up for the big post-election hangover? Is there something that I'm not seeing?
There is that. I mean, it's one of those things that you can never know until the day after election.
Right.
So, and I actually thought about that myself. I'm like, okay, wait. So, like, if I were in a rocket ship and all the red, all the dials start turning red and flashing lights, and I'm like, oh yeah, everything looks okay to me. You'd be like, yep, that's just crazy. You should know that when the flashing lights start, problems. And so these polls, if you're a presidential pollster or a presidential advisor, the poll should be a pretty good indication that, hey, something's wrong.
Yeah.
But if you just don't believe the polls because you've known them to be flawed in the past, you're right. There's no way you can tell until after the fact. So, but I think that there should be other. Let me tell you what I think is going to happen. Can I do that?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I think that, I think the polls will stay pretty close, and then I think sometime between a month and 2 weeks and a month before Election Day, that Joe Biden's going to say something, and it's going to be something that you're like, wait, what? Did he just say that out loud in front of cameras? And then I think he's going to say something, and then I think Trump's just going to basically make him pay for it for the remainder of the election cycle. And I don't know if it's going to be a blowout, but I think Trump's likely to win in a bigger way than anyone expects.
One other thought on polls. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And this is the other thing. The fact that the polls are close, and there's a worldwide pandemic, and there's an economic and jobs collapse, and the fact that he's still close, that should be like the writing on the wall, all the writing on the wall that anyone needs to know that
that's a good.
This
point.
is going to be, huh?
That's a good point.
So like, had this been any other president, and there was 170,000 dead folks, and 30 million people unemployed, you'd expect that the guy who was running against him would be up by 80%, and 20% would be for the incumbent.
Right.
And the fact that the polls are close should be like a nightmare scenario for anyone who has a D next to their name.
I have one other thing I want to say about polls, and I don't think that this should be taken lightly. But there's an entire industry that is reliant upon the polls being close for as long as they can, and that would be the news, that would be the people that sell ads, right?
Oh yeah.
If it was just a complete blowout, then the campaigns would stop spending money, and that money is being That would be money that's lost. And so if they can keep the perception that it's close up to the very end, they're just squeezing the maximum amount of money out of the candidates.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, who wants to watch a horse race where there's one clear just knockout, drag out, blowout winner?
Exactly.
I guess that's great if you're on a winning team, but these guys, these news guys, ad guys, they don't have the same interest.
And I think they feel like they already gave Trump too much free publicity last election anyway.
There's no doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt.
They won't make that mistake again.
So, but hey, so I mean, that's once again, I don't want to say that wasn't a heavy topic. That was more of a oh, look what they're doing now. Do you believe it? Not so much.
Right. Well, I have a sweet topic for us, Joe.
Sweet,
and I mean that literally.
How so?
Everyone likes ice cream, right?
If you can't be all right by me and not like ice cream.
Yeah, and then you can remember was there an ice cream truck that would come through your neighborhood when you was a kid, and you go and get a drumstick or whatever.
Funny story. As a kid, I actually worked on an ice cream truck for a while.
Oh, okay. Well, even the ice cream trucks have a racist history to them, I guess.
Not Mr. Good Humor.
Yeah. So, what was the name? Was it Goodies? Is it Goodies ice cream?
Sure, we'll go with that.
I'm sorry, people. I got all my show notes in this one big document, and I can't. And when I'm scrolling, they all just look the same.
Yeah. Hey,
I'll find it here in a second. Ice cream, yeah. Yeah. So the song, the ice cream truck has a distinctive song that's always played, and good humor ice cream has been a staple of childhood since 1920. Well, here anyway. I'm sorry, guys. I'm all over the place. The surprising history of the ice cream jingle. Turkey in the Straw is one of the most iconic ice cream truck jingles today. However, many people don't realize that this familiar tune has racist roots. And so this is what we're talking about.
Yeah, that sounds like childhood to me.
Yeah. Turkey in the Straw's melody originated from British and Irish folk songs, which had no racial connotations. But the song itself was first performed and gained popularity in American minstrel shows in the 1800s. Some songs using its same melody contained highly offensive you all right over there?
Yeah, I just fell. I'm sorry.
All right. Highly offensive racist lyrics. And throughout the 19th century, minstrel songs like Turkey in the Straw were commonly played in ice cream parlors and later adapted as ice cream truck jingles. And while these associations of Turkey in the Straw are not the only part of its legacy, it is undeniable that this melody conjures memories of its racist iterations. So I can't speak to that, but they say it's so. So who am I to argue?
I'd be interested in hearing some of the lyrics.
Well, I found this in my research, and I had always thought that the first like the early hip hop was like maybe the late 70s with like Melly Mel and Sugar Hill Gang and people like that. But it turns out that like in the 1920s, I think, there was a group called the Snickel. What is it? The Snickel Fritz Band in 1942, and check these guys out with their dope rhyming skills.
Oh, I had a girl and she was good, but one of her legs was made of wood. Her hair was false and her teeth was too, and there wasn't much for me to do. Turkey in the straw, a turkey in the hay, a turkey in the straw. What did you say? Hey, rolling, twisting up a high duck haw. Hit it up a tune called Turkey in the Straw.
Holy crap. Back in the day, they were raw.
Yeah, they were. So anyway, what caught my interest? I would have never shit. What caught my interest was Good Humor announced that they were teaming up with the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
What? The Wu-Tang ice cream?
At least they was having the RZA was going to create for them a new ice cream truck jingle that they could play in their trucks so that they could get away from this racist song, "Turkey in the Straw."
You got a sample of it?
I do, and it's not what you're what I was thinking, and probably not what you're thinking, but yeah, this is what the RZA came up with for the new, and he's releasing it. I believe it's free for any ice cream truck to use. It's just yeah. So here we go. Oh shit! If you got headphones on, man, there's a little funky little bass line in there.
Yeah.
They're going to have to put like some 12-inch subs in the ice cream trucks now to capture that. I'd never listened to this with headphones on, but that's fucking tight.
Oh yeah.
Boom boom.
You know what?
Yeah,
I want to shake that man's hand.
Hell yeah, man. If you ever watch, I think it's season 6 or 7 of Californication. The guest star is the RZA, and he just looks like he'd be the coolest motherfucker to hang out with, man.
We used to watch that show together.
Yeah.
Californication. I don't recall which season we stopped on.
Yeah, I don't think we made it. I don't think we made it to that, but it would be
7 seasons of that show.
I think there was 8. I think they ended on 8.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the RZA's ice cream truck jingle, and I those bass lines that don't come through on regular speakers. Those are the ones that are serious, man. That was really cool, man. I didn't expect that.
Oh, I thought you'd heard that as well.
Not until just now when I was listening to it through these headphones that I got on. Yeah.
Say, do you have a question for me?
I do. Let's wrap this up with a question, Joe. You are a world traveler. You've been all over the world. You're
Yes, Brian. Yes, I am a world traveler. I have been all over the world.
Yes. So I'm a big F1 fan, as we've established so far already, and the F1 that I listen to is from broadcast out of the UK, Sky Sports. And there's just I've noticed, and this has bothered me for a long time, and I've just always kind of suppressed it. But apparently, I can't remember what it even was, but apparently the last race, someone said something that just set me off. Not set me off, but my question is do the British have this thing for like uncomfortable, just like putting people in uncomfortable situations with like just really awkward, uncomfortable questions, and just like, do they get a thrill from asking them that, and then by just sitting there and watching them hang and what? Because do you know what do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you mean, but we talked about it briefly before the show.
Yeah.
But as I think about it, I don't know if it's necessarily a British reporter thing. I just think it might be a reporters or a-holes thing.
Right.
And I say that because remember in our last show we talked about Kamala Harris, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the clips was Anderson Cooper watch her get destroyed, having her rewatch herself get destroyed by the what's her name again?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard. And so, I mean, like, literally that clip just popped in my mind as the question popped out of your mouth.
That is a great. Yep, that is a great point. I
didn't think about it until you just said it, and I thought to myself, no, it may not be a British reporter thing. It just might be a reporter thing, because that was brutal what happened to Kamala Harris. And you're right, I've seen multiple interviews where they just ask the most uncomfortable question and sit there attentively and probably zoom in on the person while they answer.
Well, that's shit all over my question, but I can't argue. I can't argue with it, because that is probably more uncomfortable than anything that I've heard
or seen in a long time.
Yeah. So.
Was it more uncomfortable than us talking about the transphobia?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'll be honest, I didn't have to watch it, so I fast forwarded through it, man. Oh, yeah. I was like, they are not going to make her sit there and watch herself
destroyed.
Oh my god!
Like, oh my god, they're doing it. No one's calling cut. They're not going to commercial. Holy crap! He's going all the way.
Yeah. They made her listen to the whole clip
and watch herself.
And yeah, wow.
Anderson Cooper is an a-hole secretly.
Well, Joe, we made it.
I don't know if we made it. Like, we don't know if we made it until we're not candled the next episode. So we can say we made it when we begin the next episode, man. I think we're a little premature. Fair enough.
I
think we covered several cancel-worthy topics where they can't, yeah. So I don't know if we can say we've made it yet, man.
Fair enough. But it's been fun, and I don't know if I'm going to say it or not this week, or not. I don't know if I want to become so predictable. Fuck it! I'll say it again. You know what? I think we should do this again in 7 days. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the show will not be over until you said it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Well, take care, my man, and I will talk to you later.
Later.